welcome back to the weekly vlog. Now today is Casey Neistat's birthday, and those of you who are fans of Casey will know that he actually started his daily vlog on his birthday in 2015, I think it was. So I thought, as soon as it's Casey's birthday, why not start the vlog in the style of one of the people who's influenced me the greatest when it comes to making films and making vlogs. Who knows, I might even throw in the odd time lapse. And obviously, both in the vlog that I make and the music that I make, I'm influenced by a lot of different people. And I think influence is a really important thing when it comes to being creative. It's important to have people who inspire you, particularly on a daily basis. And whether it's inspiration for motivation or for the actual work that they create, I think it makes a big difference to your life as a creative person. Anyway, where were we? Now, over the years, I think I've been influenced by tons of people. Far too many people to mention in one vlog. But there are some significant ones when it comes to my writing and my music. For example, I think the first album that really got me writing, really started my songwriting career, was American Idiot. And I remember hearing that album for the first time and just being tremendously excited about it. And I'd started to play guitar at that point. And really, I wanted to turn some of those things I was doing on guitar into songs. And that's definitely where my first songs came from. And honestly, looking back, there are some fantastic songs on it, aren't there? It's not over till you're underground. It's not over before it's too late. That was a really underrated song, actually, Let a Bomb. I think that was my favourite on American Idiot. It wasn't a single, but it was a fantastic song. But yeah, that record certainly kick-started my songwriting. That was the first time I thought, I'd love to be able to write songs like that. I'd love to be able to create something like that. And as I've mentioned before, it was School of Rock that actually made me want to play the guitar. That film was just so great, and I remember seeing that when I was 12, I think. And I saw it in the cinema, and I remember watching the DVD on the day that we broke up for the summer holidays at the end of year 7, and I spent the entire summer obsessing over the guitar with my friend Stan, and we were both trying to play like Led Zeppelin tunes and things like that. But I think as influencers go, those are two of the biggest and best in my life. So I've come out to do something that I've wanted to do for a while this morning. And believe it or not, it's not come to B&Q, although I guess that is part of it. It's something I've always wanted to have a go at, so I figured this is the week to do it. So I just need to go and grab a couple of things from in here, and we'll be ready to go. Now, with inspiration often comes that word that we all fear, the P word, plagiarism. Now, I've always found this a really interesting topic when it comes to being a creative person, because I actually think that plagiarism is it's a very strong word, isn't it? But I actually think it's an essential part of the creative process. There are a couple of quotes that I think are really good and sum up my view on this. The first one is a Picasso quote, and it is, "To copy others is necessary, but to copy oneself is pathetic." And I think Picasso's saying, you've got to get some outside inspiration. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect to get different results. You need to look outside yourself for that. And more often than not, that's in the work of great people who inspire you. And I think it's crucial to take little bits of what other people do to influence your work, because art doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know. You can't just create something and expect your work to stand alone. It would be ridiculous to think that we don't stand on the shoulders of giants when it comes to creating things in this day and age. As my mum has always said, there's nothing new under the sun, and I totally agree. And the other quote, I actually can't find the author of. I'm pretty sure I heard it on the radio at some point, and it was a discussion about writing music. And it said, everybody plagiarizes, but the best composers get away with it. Because all the way through history, particularly with music, you can hear the influences of different composers on each other. They even called Brahms's First Symphony Beethoven's 10th because he was influenced so much by Beethoven. Not only that, but the Beatles' White Album is a seminal moment in history as well, because that's an album of two halves. And I think from that point on, music goes in one of those two directions. There were people who were influenced by the John Lennon side of it, the very experimental Revolution No. 9 kind of stuff. Then of course there's the other side of the album, which is the sort of Paul McCartney, more pop orientated side of it, which definitely pushed bands in a totally different direction. And to me, the song Helter Skelter on that album is like the birth of heavy rock. And wouldn't it just be ridiculous to think, oh, I've heard that new track from the Beatles, I think it's great, I'm not going to write anything like it though because they've already done that, let's just leave that there. It's just a ridiculous sentiment. instrument. Somebody obviously heard Helter Skelter and thought, I'm going to have a go at writing something like that. And I've done that so many times in my career. In fact, that's how I learned to write. I went, that's a really nice piece of music. What's going on there? Break it down for what it is, and then try and write something similar. And sometimes you can really sense when it's a direct copy, which is why that second quote is definitely true. But I honestly think as a creative person, that's how you learn. You've got to study other people's work, you've got to be influenced by it, and you've got to have a go at trying to create something like it. So, shock, surprise, I'm doing some writing. I've been sat here listening to something that I finished in the early hours of the morning, and I'm thinking about the composers that have influenced my work over the years, and I'm seeing if I can spot the influence of those people in my actual work. And I'll be honest, I actually can. I can hear little bits of music that I think that's something that I liked about this particular piece of music. And I hear a phrase and I think, that's how I imagine this composer would phrase it. So even now I can hear those influences on my work. But obviously it's not a deliberate or conscious thing. I'm not sat here going, oh, I'm going to write this in the style of Mozart, or I'm going to write this bit in the style of Richard Rodgers. It's just obviously that I know the music that I love, I know what I'm influenced by. So I guess in a way I can pick out those influences from those people. And I know this is an entirely different conversation, but I do wonder about my own identity when it comes to my work, and whether there are things that people can spot in the things that I write. But not only is that a very difficult question to answer myself, I'd probably have to ask someone to answer that for me. But I don't even know if I'd actually want to know what those traits are, because I'd feel like then if I was writing, I'd want to slip into those habits again. I think if I knew what my own habits were, I'd overanalyze them a bit too much. And this week has been fantastic. I've been able to look back at some of those influences and look at the effect they've had on my work. And it's made me realise how important the influence actually is. Not only in an inspiring way, but also in the way that they actually create work. It's allowed me to actually develop a workflow in quite a few places. And the wonderful thing is, there are definitely people out there who I haven't discovered yet who are going to influence me at some point in the future. And I really look forward to the impact that they're going to have on my work going forward. And there you have it, the big reveal. I finally had a go at making my own pair of Casey Neistat sunglasses. I actually watched the video ages ago where he actually showed you how to do it, and I thought this week was the perfect week to try it. I'll be totally honest with you, I can't really see, but I figured it would make quite a good thumbnail. So the chances of me wearing these again are very, very low, because it would be tremendously unsafe to drive in them unless I can clear off some of the scratches in the middle. But either way, it was quite fun to make the pair. And like they say, you should always dress for the job that you want.